This is a public service announcement presented by Professor McMarcus.
10.
Let loose the Marcus!
Yeah! What's up, nerd?
You know, no, the disrespect side is the palm.
2.
If someone slaps you with their palm, you better beat the shit out of them.
Booster ignition and liftoff.
Greetings. I am Mark.
Rose has a first name, it's KPNNY.
I'll try to fix it while I'm talking, but it's still not working. I tried to get that. You know, I go in with such an open
The
mind.
streamer.
You know, you let me open this just to piss me off, didn't you?
That y'all want.
People's
You know what that's what gets me every time with it. I can't do what these assholes do. I can't think that old people in the past were stupid.
The bald man. And walking.
Ooh, let's go. Come on. No! Sarah! Why?
You see, for Marcus is not a title that I take lightly.
Right? Like, everybody, you know, it seems like, hey, look, Marcus is a curmudgeon. That's bullshit. I'm not a curmudgeon.
Don't you ever forget that you're not here on earth. You have a purpose, and therefore, you are on purpose.
That's a lot of twos, baby. That's a lot of twos. You almost got me that time. A man muted is barely a man at all. Hello, everybody, and welcome to, oh boy, we got to fly in today, The Marcus Show. For September 1st, pinch punch, first of the month. Have you done your pinching and punching today? Have you found some unsuspecting smaller person than you are and just ran up and said, boom, pitch punch, first of the month? They're just on the ground, holding their face, wondering, why did this happen? Because if you haven't done that yet, you're probably not in jail for assault. And for that, I'm proud of you. Way to stay out of the sticky hands of the law. So how are you, my friends? How is the world? It is Friday the 1st. Can you believe it? I can believe it. What is time anyway? Why do we need days and months? Because we have to have days and months to have a functioning society. You need to be able to plan things, schedule things, anticipate outcomes, etc., etc., etc. And if you don't have a universal way of measuring and judging time, well, I imagine it's pretty difficult. Does any of this matter? Of course it doesn't. What is going on today? Well, it is Friday. And boy, what a Friday it is. This might be the last Friday. And by might me, I mean definitely. Because as you see it, all of this greatness is coming to an end today. Don't cry. I know. We got Kleenexes. Listen, before you jump to conclusions, you need to know the why. You need to understand what got us here. Because this did not happen overnight. It may be the 1st of September in 2023, but I started this journey way back in November of 1992. No. I was still born. This journey, as you have seen it, started in November of 19. Well, slightly after that. But I decided that through all the things I had done in my life, there was one more thing that I needed to do. And that was the next thing. There's always one more. There's no final goal for you. There's no ending to the race. The ending is darkness, y'all. And while you can still see the light, you got to make sure that your goals are upgrading with your desires, wants, and abilities. And I can tell you, as a middle-aged balding man, When it comes to having to be willing to let go of the old to shed away the things that hold us back, it's a bittersweet thing. The Marcus Show, as you've known it, has been a big deal to me. I've been working really hard for a long time to try to make it work. I've made friends. I've lost acquaintances. And I've put a lot of hours, a lot of mental energy, as well as physical time. I've learned a lot. I've lost a bunch. And the biggest thing I've gained, I think, is a lot of perspective on what it means to live a good life. Wife just came home. She's amazing. So what the hell are you saying, Marcus? I hear ya. It sounds like I'm quitting everything. And let me tell you, that is not the case. This face ain't going anywhere. I got a whole world to take over. But what is going away is the excuses for action. Lowering the bar to match my energy instead of energizing myself to exceed the bar. That's going away. My unwillingness to be honest with people is going away. My selfish desires are coming back. But none of that means anything to you, because what you're gonna see is a Marcus Show like you've never seen. We are elevating this show to where it deserves to be, and that is among the most elite channels on YouTube. Everything up to this point has all been training for the main event, which is here right now. It's no more me just sitting down in front of a camera, wondering what the hell I'm gonna say and hoping you guys like it. I'm going to hone my skills like they have never been honed before. We are going to go at this show with the passion that the Dalai Lama wishes he had for interesting names. I mean, Dalai Lama, come on. It's no more, letting the winds of the world decide what the Marcus does. The Marcus is now taking control back from himself. Because let me tell you, man, I gave that shit away for too long. But ultimately, I've been throwing uncooked pasta at a wall for 2 years. And ultimately thinking that my inherent skill, charm, and good looks would get me there. Well, those 3 got me here. And that's as far as they're ever going to get me. It's time to upgrade once again and start really living a life that doesn't depend on a single one of you fucking people. And I say that with the deepest amount of love in my heart. But ultimately, whether you are here or not, my dream to be the best in the world is already acquired. It just hasn't been lived yet. I was born the best. And there's not a single person on this planet that gets to tell me that. Only me. So as we transition to the best, the show is going to be different. There's going to be actual segments that are planned for your enjoyment. We're going to have spare panties in the back, because that is how good our quality is going to be. Yeah, it's going to be sexual at times. See previous joke. But what it's always going to be is high quality, high execution, and impactful to the world. I just recently did a reaction video to Oliver Anthony. It was cool. Got a bunch of views. Guess how much I care about it? That's a problem. We're regaining the love for ourselves, and it's going to involve a lot of yelling at people I care about. Sorry in advance. Not really. I'm only sorry because I know how difficult it can be. I know how much of a presence fire is. But the cool thing about fire is there's most of the strongest materials in the world are born from it. Yeah, I just came up with that. Jealous. You guys wish. Yeah, this morning I was telling Lindsay I was fucking machine gunning. Analogy after analogy. Y'all wish. No, I'm not going to become an egotistical prick, and I am going to make people feel the best they've ever felt, just like I always have. The thing I'm not going to do anymore is settle for anything other than great. Okay? My eyes have sunk in deep enough. The brain will now push them back out. Okay? We're getting off where the bags are going away, and the energy's coming back. I just want to let you guys know that's what's going to happen today. I kind of was hoping anybody would be here. But for those who are coming later, because I know you're there and I know you're watching, I'm really excited for what we have created, what we are creating, and what we're going to do. And man, this new venture, it's going to be very familiar, but 100 times better. And you're gonna wonder, when did Johnny Carson come back? And if you're too young to know who Johnny Carson is, stick around, because the amount of references that you're gonna foresee are unbelievable. It's absolutely wild. There'll be fumbles, there'll be mistakes, there'll be days where we want to do better than we did. But every single day, man, is gonna be a freaking success, and it's cool. We have a whole outline. We planned it. We're going to execute it. The very first thing we're doing is Monday. This coming up Monday, which would be, 4 days from now, on the 4th, I think it is. We're doing our first movie night in the Discord. Of course, it doesn't cost any money. I'm just watching movies with my buddies. We're going to be watching John Q. And from that movie on Thursday, we're going to be reviewing it, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to have clips. We got a whole new set that we built. Okay? And just be ready. The only thing I need is a fancy chair. I'm good to go. Okay? And then come Tuesday, Talking Tuesday's coming, but not just me rambling on about God knows what. Well, that is exactly what it's going to be, but boy, is it going to be entertaining, and I can't wait to tell you, or to show you guys what the changes are going to be. Okay? Thursdays become Theater Thursday. See previous statement. Meaning we are reviewing movies. We are showing people and reminding them what it means to be entertained. You do not need a degree to understand a joke. These are movies written by people, for people, not for producers and all the other bullshit. We're going to break down as to what makes them good and why we are one good movie away from an entire decade of perfect movies again, man. Some of the worst movies from back in the day are just, they are some of the, compared to now, they are Oscar award winning compared to the crap they have now. And we're going to explain all that as to why. And then finally, after 2 years of talking about it, we are bringing Food Fridays, Munchies with Marcus. Every Friday we cook a meal. And this isn't a how-to or a, I don't know how to hold a knife series. No, this is for people who are competent and ready to improve their skills by quit making excuses and learning how to do it for real. Just because you've always done it doesn't mean you haven't always done it wrong. I remember of a story I heard a comedian say where his mom used to always cut off the end of the roast, like that much roast, and just threw it in the trash. And she always did that because her grandma did it. Well, finally, after years and years of cooking and hundreds of pounds of roast butts being thrown in the trash, she finally asked her mom or her grandma why she did it. She said, "Oh, our oven was so small, so I just cut off the end so the roast would fit." So for her whole life, she was just throwing away meat simply because she never chose to not be an idiot. And we will not do that here. The choice to be an idiot is always on the table, but it's never one we can choose. Little sister, what is up, and welcome. Love to see it. Oh, my goodness. It's a beautiful thing. the big grown-up, but we're about to start calling you grown-up sister. You ain't little anymore. You ain't rapping, or you're still tiny physically. That's the only real lil left in you. Man, I'm tired big time. I've had like 6 of these already. It's not true, but my eyes, have you ever, all right, who's experienced nipple clamps? Okay. Now, out of all you hands, every hand, every hand. Grandma. Wow. So, do you know that weight that they put? Imagine 2 of them bitches on each eye. That's how I feel right now. You guys remember? You know what else is really funny? You know what I love? I love pointing out the obvious part that everybody misses because they're caught up in the drama. Do you remember when Katy Perry had that viral video of her like having a stroke because her eyes stuck together? Me and like 72% of women all knew exactly what that was. She just had too much of that fucking lacquer on her face, and when her eyes closed, her makeup stuck together. Okay, a cool breeze blew across the lacquer. It dried faster than she thought it was, but she couldn't touch it because of the sheer amount of lacquer on there. If she touches, she'd be glued permanently. So she's like, her eyes are stuck together, but she's trying to open that sucker. But if you haven't seen the muscles here, if you don't work them out, they're super weak. Okay? But ultimately, everyone's like, oh, damn, she got the stroke mechanic from the coof. And ultimately, not even talking about the shot, I love the reaction to it. And again, me, 73% of women, we're like, oh, stuck makeup. Been there, done that. I haven't been there, but I've done that. What is up, Storyteller Merc? Well, you see my point? Point is, I don't have one. And that ends today. Had to stop in quick and say hello, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Love and miss you guys. Story. You too, brother. Seriously. It's, every time I hang out with this guy, I have a good time. 92% of the time. Absolute joy. I mean, 3/4, me and Merc, we get it done. Half of the time, it is just the best experience of my life. You know? What, you guys think I was going to keep going? I don't just, there's racks and stacks. Mercantile is a good man. Just for those who have wondered. He stays busy. He stays ahead of it, and he kicks ass. It's an awesome, I don't know. I don't have much to say today. There's been a lot of internal dialogue, butter churning. And when you're internal, it's hard to get external. But one thing I can tell you is when I can get it out, it's like Ferris Bueller's Dave Off. Dave Off. My God. Can't wait for next Friday and Saturday. Okay, got to get the kiddo. Oh, and expect a movie script. Oh, murky. I love that. Drive safe. Go get the kid. We'll talk soon, brother. Have a good one, man. Take a note. I mean, I have had that eye glue situation before. We've all been there. You got that boogery eye? I'm going to have my own kitchen now, and I am beyond excited to expand. See, and that's one of the coolest parts. It's like, you've already got the cooking bug, right, sister? And you and Lindsay both, right? You ultimately broke through the wall of, oh, cooking sucks, right? And now you enjoy, for the most part, of course, the act of cooking. It's not a chore. It is a necessary skill set that everybody should have. Everybody should have. So as you acquire that skill, oh man, now all of a sudden you can like, you know what? I'm going to buy this jar of roasted red peppers. I've never done that before, but I know that if I give them a smell, if I give them a taste, I'll kind of know what to do, and then I can throw it into my own dish. That is the difference between a chef and a cook. A chef can create, a cook can cook. Everyone should at least be at the level of cook. You should be able to make food. You should know when a steak is done. You should know what a chicken breast looks like, feels like, tastes like when it's done. Just basic shit, man. And if you make it to there, you are better than, honestly, far too high a percentage. Okay, I think about just any disruption to our food chain 50 years from now, if we stay on the same trajectory, the sheer amount of people will be like, Uber, and they just, because you got to think, one generation is all we are from apocalypse. Truly think about it. One generation just being like, future's over. And if the majority of the future over people, dude, think about how hard it would be for the generation after them to rebuild from the give up generation. I think we're kind of experiencing that a little bit right now. We're getting close to it. But my ultimate point being, you don't want to be on the side of the spectrum that doesn't know how to make food, right? Like sister, wife, you both have new techniques now. Grill, steam, air fry, deep fry, bake, roast, broil, cast iron, right? All these different techniques. So that, power went out, I better fire up the grill. The grill's on fire, better build a pit, you know? Oh God, the pit expanded to the neighbor's field, better run. You know, you got to do what you got to do to survive. Do not have a very narrow scope of what you're doing. You need to be able to see outside of the current situation, right? Because whenever you're in it, right, when you're water skiing, the number one thing you're thinking about is water skiing. That's the front of your brain. What you got to do is train the back of your brain to keep thinking about those important things. Let me give you a perfect example, and we'll stay within the water skiing. What's up, Lion? How are you, brother? Okay, you're water skiing. You're back there. That's right. It's not ski. It's water, so it's longer cuts, right? So as you're going, when you first start, all you can think about is like, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, right? Like you kind of have technique going. You kind of have other, but no, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die. That's all you're thinking in the beginning. So as you do it more, as you become more comfortable with it, now you're thinking like, okay, if I want to go a little further out, I got to do this and don't die, don't die, don't die. But then you can kind of like have moments of peace where you are in a deeper level of control because you have put your muscle memory, your psyche, the back brain to work. Okay? You can think don't die, don't die, don't die while going, all right, cut a little deeper, fuck. And then when you roll, it's don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, right? So ultimately, as you improve yourself, as you get better, now all of a sudden, in between the don't dies, you're passing it behind your back, right? Now all of a sudden you're licking your toe or something. I don't know. That's the toe lick flick. That's what they used to call what I did. I just told them anyway. So you're doing all the things, right? You're doing all the stuff in between the don't dies. Where do you think that comes from? All that came from is learning, mastering, and putting it on autopilot. Hey, have you ever seen a baby walk? They suck at it, man. I can't imagine how embarrassing I would be if I was a baby, like a big head wobble. It's just like, you suck at walking. But it's not like it's forever. They don't perma suck, right? They're not just there forever. They are ever improving blobs of stumbleness. But when here's actually kind of a cool fact. There's a chunk of ages for kids where skipping is the most efficient form of travel. And that's why kids skip. It's like 6 to 12 or something. But essentially because of how their muscles and bones are in that phase of their life, children naturally skip because it's the most efficient form of movement. And then the reason they stop skipping is the stuff keeps growing and then it no longer becomes the most efficient form. So they stop. Isn't that interesting? 7 to 12. That is crazy. So based off of, how many, what does that mean for prominent skippers? Like if you skip past 12, is that good or bad thing? Did you stay in the efficiency too long? Now you can't break out of it, man? I never was a big skipper. It could have been the belly. Oh, man, you want to know the most awkward part of horses galloping? Hold on. the most awkward part of when you're riding a horse is the in between trot and gallop. It takes a second for a horse to go from bumpy to this like graceful, like going, you know? And I always hated that phase, almost to the point where it wasn't worth getting up to a gallop because of the pain of getting to a gallop. You know what I mean? Come on, where's my horse people at? Right? Where's my horse people? You know what I'm meaning. I can thank you for my interest in cooking. I've been using a lot of tips and tricks that I've learned from you over the years. And my cooking's gone to the next level. There you go. I set the bar high for a reason. Right? Look at that. I may set the bar on fire and make it painful when you grab it. Hey, you still rode him. Grandma made you. I don't care. She didn't care how much you were sniffling, right? She still made you get on those damn horses. Thank you, sister. That's very nice. Also, I won't have the restrictions with the picky parents anymore. Ha! Well, here's an interesting thing about picky eaters. You somewhat get better at being creative because you have to hide. Like, think about Onions and You, right? And think about, oh my gosh, Dad for the number one thing, right? Is picky means like, okay, how do I hide all the vegetables in this and make them taste like meat or taste that so they'll eat them in spite of it, right? Because the biggest thing for me is when I got the picky eaters to eat what I was cooking, I couldn't think of a better victory. Oof. It's like, ha ha ha. You said you don't like onions, yet you're eating onions, right? Or with Broob, even though it gave her horrible stomach problems, I got her to mow down on a stuffed red pepper. Now, turns out her reaction to peppers was justified, and I'm pretty sure she hasn't eaten a red pepper since. The point being, though, that meal made her eat a red pepper, and I still count that as a victory, even though, Brubin, your belly is forever blessed by your boy. But anyway, so Fridays are cooking, right? And we're going to have the camera set up. We're actually going to have 2 camera angles for the cooking show, right? And we're going to be cooking delicious, high quality, creative food. But here's the best part. There's a little bit of a twist, okay? There's a little bit of a twist. And what is that twist? That twist is there's going to be 2 secret ingredients that I have to figure out how to cook and what I'm going to make with them. And on top of the mystery ingredients, I am also, I have 60 minutes to do it. So it's a 1-hour cooking challenge with 2 secret ingredients. And Chef Marcus has to show up strong and knock an amazing meal out of the park. And then our beautiful Lindsay, and hope we might get guest judges eventually. But basically, it's going to be a show me the ingredients. I have an hour to come up with and cook a meal. And then Lindsay will judge. And that's your Fridays, right? So ultimately, we have Community Mondays, which is in the Discord watching movies. We have Talking Tuesdays, which is going to have kind of like a fireside chat feel. It's going to be a lot more educational, much more, I think powerful is the word I'm going to use. And then on Wednesdays, we're going to do a project. I kind of glossed over that, didn't I? So working Wednesdays, we are going to do a project. Like I just recently made a bird bath for the beautiful and wonderful Mrs. Marcus out of PVC. And it's like, well, this is actually a really good idea. I think I should do this more often. So we're going to be making bird baths. We're going to be making pond boxes and pond upgrades. We're going to be repairing art. You name it, we're going to fix it. There's a dishwasher I got to fix, right? And then that amalgamation of things will be the Marcus Show. Did I forget? No, Thursday is Theater Thursdays. That is where we review the movie that we watched on Monday. And then come Friday is Food Friday, like I just talked about, and y'all are going to become some of the best chefs this side of the equator. Okay? If you're gonna go big, I can't think any bigger than the world's belt. Okay? Severely allergic to horses. I fully agree with that. I can ride a horse, by the way. Mark, my grandpa, made me learn. See, and that's great. You should be able to learn to ride a horse. What if all of a sudden the Mongolians were invading and they used an EMP and you don't happen to have a car made before 1971? So if all of those things happen at once and you happen to live next to a horse stable, you're telling me you wouldn't have the skill set to ride that horse into the sunset and defeat Genghis Khan's reborn uncle? Yes. So I will never be caught off guard. That's all I'm saying. I am ready for everything, man. Mechagodzilla, I have a plan. Okay? Pacifist Hitler, I'm ready. You name it, I got it. Okay? Peace on the earth, that's probably the one I don't have a plan for because it's the most unlikely to ever happen. But hey, we can have peace amongst our creases, and that's one of the most important things. Can he cook it? Can he cook it? Dad is one of the hardest people to cook for. Because the reason why he's one of the hardest people to cook for is he'll take a bite and then just set it aside and not eat it. He won't tell you it's good. It's like, no, it's not. You know how I know it's not good? It's because you don't eat it. You take one bite and then stop eating it. That's how I know by definition that you don't think it's good. But ultimately from that, you got to learn. I learned if I want him to eat carrots, I got to put honey and brown sugar in them. You know, I found out if I want him to eat broccoli, I got to put like a lemon pepper cheese on there. You know, make it just a little bit unhealthy so that he can ultimately eat the damn food. And like with mi madre, right? You can't, getting greens into her is impossible. You can't make it her smoothie. She barely eats it off her plate, but what you got to do is make her vegetables taste like the meat. So you cook the meat in the pan, then you cook the vegetables in the same pan. That's how you get mom to eat them. There's a million ways, right? The way you get little sister to eat onions is you either have to cook them so long that they dissolve and go away, so it's just the flavor, or they have to be big enough so she can pick them out. And if they're not big enough to pick them out, it better be the best tasting thing in the world because she will still find them and pick them out. Mark, you're picky. What's the number one thing you do like to eat? What's your go-to? I bet you it's like, what would be a go-to over there? Fish and chips. I'd eat a lot of fish and chips over there. Like to see you cook for me. I'll have to fly out to you one day. Get on that private Cessna, man. Fly across the ocean. Single engine. You'll be fine. Nope. You need something bigger than a Cessna, bud. Yeah, we'll be cooking, man. I'm excited because we'll also do like overseas stuff. You know, like I want to do UK food. I want to do Norwegian food. I want to do Netherlands food. Like you name it. I'm going to do food across the world because ultimately I love cooking. And a big thing that I'm going to teach in cooking is the fundamental principles. You don't need to know like recipes off the top of your head to cook. You shouldn't really know recipes as it is. You should know meals. You should know how to make meals. But the measurements, man, I think too many people get caught up. Cooking isn't baking. When you're cooking something, so much of it is about how you cook it and when you cook it. There's natural salts, natural sweeteners. Food has for the most part, the majority of the ingredient, like flavor profiles that it needs is in the ingredients you make. When I'm cooking, pretty much salt, pepper, and a few other light seasonings are the most you will see. Outside of that, I am using the flavor compounds of the individual ingredients to create like a multi-layered meal. And that's a lot of what you're going to learn. You're going to learn what it means to truly understand food. It's not about learning how to make chicken fried steak. It's not about learning how to make bangers and mash. It is about being comfortable with the process of cooking so that for any reason, any desire, you can cook now. If you want a chicken sandwich from your favorite restaurant, you will have the knowledge in your brain to do it. You'll just have to think about it for a little bit. Be like, what is that? Oh yeah, that's garlic. Oh yeah, okay, onion. Oh, That's onion. Yeah, and then now you'll have all that in your brain. And if you want to go out, you can. But you won't have to go out. And that's what we're going to do, man. Food Fridays are going to be good. They're going to be fun. There are going to be a lot of technical difficulties. But the worst day for technical difficulties is going to be working Wednesday. My GoPro's gone forever. I don't know where it went, but it's gone forever. And it ultimately, we will figure it out. But how we figure out, that's a tough titty to crack, man. Let me tell you. Okay? Technology and Marcus are just, we get along really well, but it's a relationship of sheer force of will. Okay? Me and technology me and technology understand the benefits of each other. And we work hard to combine our lives in the most peaceful way we can. But ultimately, it's a rocky relationship. I hate him, he hates me. When we work together, amazing things are created. But when we don't work together, shack a monkey. It is a frustrating endeavor. Man, that bird bath is cool. I'm gonna have to show that to you guys as well. Wait, what was your favorite thing you like to eat, Lion? Pizza? Oh, pizza. I just saw it. Okay, I like pizza. I wonder what your guys' pizza's like over there. Because when we didn't order any pizza when we were in the UK. I mean, it can't be that different, right? I've always said you'd be a great teacher when it comes on to food. You know, and I agree with you. Because it's easy to teach the thing you love the most. Because ultimately what you want is for people to share in your love of the thing. If it's video games, it means a lot to you to have your girl or your boy or your friend sit down and play a game that you love, right? And ultimately, I believe you'll find a lot more patience in it, in the teaching process, if it's something you love versus something you just know how to do, or you had to like work hard to obtain it. Because if your process of learning it was shitty, you might not be as inclined to teach because you remember learning it as crap, you know? I never really thought about it like that before, but that happens a lot. But then the other end of the spectrum is when somebody's really passionate about it, but because they're nervous about it being shit on, they get protective, you know? Like they get protective with that information. It's like, if I tell you this and you shit all over me, I'm going to hate you forever. And I don't want that to happen. And I don't want people to be mean to things I love. You know, and that's a big struggle as a YouTuber also. Because it really, it's a pain. It's a pain to love what you created enough to be willing for it to fail. Right? And that's a lot of YouTube. You know, I put a short out there that I really like because it's personal or I feel like it's a really good point, but then it doesn't work very well or it doesn't get the views. And a big thing you got to do in the beginning is just because the people didn't watch it doesn't mean you don't be proud of what you created. Still be happy with what you created, you know? And that has been something that, for me at least, has been relatively easy. I'm still very proud of everything you see. Like anytime like Elon tries to chime in and something like, I'm proud of this, man. This is cool shit. You don't see like this kind of stuff like brain chip integration as often as on other people's streams. You see a lot of people and they got a lot of people watching. And hey, good for them, man. But the people that are here are the ones that I love because I think you understand what I'm trying to do. Elon, this is dirty. Turn it off. Elon, wrong video. Wrong video. Okay, there he goes. Right? And I think because I've always been proud of what I've created, as much as there has been losses throughout, and there's been losses, like there's been punches throughout, I've always been pretty good about pushing forward. I've never felt bad about my content. I have felt bad about the results of it, but ultimately, like, dude, I'm super proud of, look at this world. I've built this world with these tips, these sausage tips right here, man. And that's cool as shit. You know what? Yeah, no, we're not. Because I forgot that's under construction. But the point is, we've built a lot. We've built a lot of things. And it's cool. It's fun to build. It's fun to create, you know? And make sure you're creating for yourself first, but don't do what Marcus did and create for himself exclusively. Because ultimately, I know one of my biggest issues in this world is I'm very unfocused. You know, I'm JoJo the Marcus boy running around left and right. And that's okay. Because when you're discovering your body, it's good to explore, you know? And like I've been discovering my body for 30 years at this point. And it's never done, man. You need to figure out what feels good, what feels great. Who cares if it doesn't feel good? That's not the stuff we focus on. We focus on the wins. Just get mad at the stuff that pisses you off. That's the best advice I could give you. Don't feel bad for being justifiably angry, right? I lost 200. Hey man, it happens. It's not even about the money. It's about the goal, just like you said. I'll be here on Friday. What time you gonna be live? Today is Friday. I'm live right now. Lion, wake up, man. Good morning. Actually, it's probably good evening for you, right? I appreciate that offer, Lion. If I ever do, I'll reach out to you, man. You know where my GoPro is. That would be super helpful. Super helpful. There's some tips I could give you, however, not as many as some streamers in YouTube. Oh, man. Lion, you're always willing to help, brother. That's what I appreciate. You know, what have you been up to, Lion? What's the mighty roar? Nah. Roarer? That's an ugly word. Yeah, man, if you guys are excited, so am I. It'll be a lot of work. And it's a goal we've been writing down on paper for too long, right? Too long we've been writing stuff down and not executing them. And now it's over. That's what's over. Marcus Show dies today. This is not the most we are capable of. This is the bottom. And hey, baby, if we're at the bottom, guess what? We got one direction to go. That's straight up. Here's the best part about how Marcus digs himself out of a hole. As I dig, I put the material I'm digging under my feet so I can't fall back down any deeper. Sure, I get covered in muck the whole way. It's not an easy, comfortable, or, well, some people would say effective way to do it. But I can tell you it's a way that creates greatness. Being able to take the dirt loads to the face and stand on top of them afterwards gets you out of that hole forever. It makes that well sealed as soon as you get out of it. Sure, you could walk along and fall in another well. You better start digging again. The point being, this is not a frantic climb out of the darkness into the light. This is a painstaking process of building up the ground below you so that you can reach heights that you've never been able to reach before, man. It's not about how you fall, it's about how you rebuild. And I'm willing to give up on 2 years of this so that I can have 20 years of that. And I can tell you right now, that is amazing. And a lot like Meatloaf, I would do anything for love. But we're gonna do that. Yes, we're gonna do that.
Where the chickens at?
They're at chickensonly.com.
You don't have to be lonely at
Chickens.
lonely.com.
This is a public service announcement presented by Professor McMarcus. Do you suffer from any of the following symptoms? Sleeplessness, high blood pressure, bleeding from the ears, a euphoric sense of belonging? If you have, you may have been exposed to The Marcus Show. But don't worry, we're from the government and we're here to help. People exposed to The Marcus Show may question authority. They may prioritize improving their personal lives over maintaining toxic relationships. If you or someone you know has been exposed to The Marcus Show, call this number below or text NICE to 69420 and we'll send you information on how we can help.
This has been a joke. Do not call or text either of these numbers. Who knows who it could be? Yo. Whew. Oh, man. Where are we? Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Marcus Show. Shoot, we're late. Wait, we've been going an hour? Who's been going an hour? I've been going an hour. I just sat down. Who's a fat idiot? Yeah, that's what I thought. No. Look at my... Okay. What's it say next to the live? 53 minutes. Just go with it? Pretend like... Okay. Isn't that Lion? Not like Lion the Chatter. He's awesome, but like... I will... Hold on. What if I say that? I'm lying. Don't lie. Hold on. It's just shh. I'm going to shush you because your voice is annoying. I don't care that that's not the point. I've been telling you for weeks. You need to fix your voice. I don't care. Figure it out. Because whenever you talk, I hear the Swedish Chef from Sesame Street. And it's the most distracting. Stop. You can't. If you say spaghetti, they'll know. Don't stop it. I don't care. You don't think I could do this for 45 minutes? I know you've only been here for 2 weeks, Mr. Swedish Chef, but you don't think I could keep this bit up right now? This one. You don't think I could do this for 45 minutes? You need to get your spaghetti-eating, Urka-Durkin ass back to Sesame Street. And I can't tell you how to get there. They kicked you out for a reason. You weren't paying your dues. You think the Sesame Street HOA is tough? You hadn't even pretended to pay your dues to Big Bird, okay? You think he's that tall because he's a bird? That's a man in a suit with a bunch of money around his waist. That's why his belly's so big. How much longer we got? 40 minutes left? Are you having sex? Okay, you need to... Somebody... It's in front of everybody. Close the blinds. Minimum. You need to get him. I'm not going to do a prank. Take care of it. What do you mean I'm the one that takes care of it? Okay. Hey, y'all, we had a couple production problems here, but I think we got it figured out. Let me tell you, it is always an adventure at the Marcus Show, formerly known as the Marcus Morning Show. Huh. There's been at least two names. So how's everybody? Did that buy me enough time? Hey, watch this. Caught a fly. Can't prove I did it. I've been reviving a career and got there. I will make profit from now. Money makes money. Optimism makes success. Success makes happiness. No, success makes peace. Peace makes a vacuum. A vacuum creates a desire. A desire creates action. And action creates money. Money creates optimism. And it goes round and round. Round and round. Excuse me. Oh. Much love, sister. Thank you for being here. Enjoy your Girl Scout cookies. Such a good... And I got one. You should do the Rager. Oh, do the Rager, the always positive, and the toxic kid. I think I know what you meant by that. So one thing is I have thought about doing skits, kind of like the back and forth. Because this idiot, he's finally done, by the way. You guys need to step. Right, and because we got all these interns working for popcorn, unpopped, by the way. I told him I would teach him how to pop it eventually. It's been weeks. But the point is we got a lot of work going on, and part of those are going to be, we have some comedic skits that I have thought about. I think would be really fun. Ultimately, man, what my goal is here is we're just going big. We're bringing back happy to the world. We're bringing back people who want to have a good time, right? We're going zim, zala, bim. Right? And we're using our magic against the people. There's going to be, bless you, there's going to be good stuff coming. Good stuff coming. Man, I am excited to go overseas again eventually. Once that private jet gets fueled up, I'm down. We got our what would that be? I think we ended up going, with the Boeing, right? 737. We started our layaway, I think, 2 years ago. We're about 6 payments in to $84,000. And once you make half of them, they let you look at it, which is, I'm pretty excited, man. 42% interest. I mean, no payments due until your children earn income. I've seen some interesting contracts, but it was almost too good of an opportunity to pass by. You know? What are we doing today? It's almost like, do you guys remember in school, on the last day of school, or yearbook signing day, there's a couple, but ultimately you're at the end of something. You're at the end of a journey, end of a story, end of an event. And ultimately you could tell, as much as everybody has been looking forward to this, now that it's here, there's almost like a bitter sadness. You know, they call it rose-colored glasses, or something about looking back. I got out a second I could. But ultimately, when everyone was signing the yearbooks and saying goodbye, like for some reason now that school's over, we can't call each other anymore. It's almost like everybody knew that because this unifying thread that kept us all together was being cut. We all just kind of knew that we're probably never going to see each other again, realistically. And as much as some people knew it in the front of their minds, and other people just kind of felt it in their bodies, I think we've all kind of been in that situation before. And one thing that I find fascinating about that is the sheer willingness to leave it unsaid. That was never Marcus. Like, I didn't write "Have a good summer" in your yearbook. I typically wrote a memory that you and I had, or a hope for the future that was specific to us and to you. And that doesn't mean that's what everybody has to do, but that's what I did. And I kind of, looking back on it, I think I know why I did it now. Is I was trying to make that sad part a little less shitty, because I was like, man, this is thick. This is like butter in the fridge. You know, it's just, maybe we should lighten the load a little bit, huh? And a lot of times when I would finish writing the yearbook quote and I gave it back to him, like I really wanted him to read it then, because most of the time after they read it, they either happy cried or happy, either or, right? A lot of times it was the result was happy, and I wanted to see that. And I think it's important to recognize when you're in a situation where there's kind of a giant sad elephant in the room, because if everybody's feeling it, who knows how much good someone saying it could do. I think a lot of times as people, we forget how important it is to allow ourselves to feel pain and sadness and some of the bad negative emotions. And I understand why people protect themselves from it. You know, they definitely, it's easy to want your life to be perfect. I think it's really hard to understand why it shouldn't be perfect, because logically that doesn't make a ton of sense. You know, you should want a good life. You should work towards a good life, and you should be very okay with the life you have, regardless if it's good or bad. And that's kind of the bigger scope, bigger picture of it. But shrinking it down to your individual day-to-day occurrences, you know, I think it's important that if you feel one of those negative emotions, like we'll go back to the high school thing. If you feel really sad because you are going to miss all your friends, I really don't see anything inherently wrong with letting people know that. It's not like you're guilting them. It's not their fault. It's not, it's nothing they did. There's no malice. But if you know that the likelihood of you not seeing somebody again is pretty high, and you still like them as a person, that might be your last opportunity to let them know how important they were to you. And it's not an easy thing. It's definitely awkward. But you shouldn't have a bunch of unsaid nice things to say at someone's funeral. You should have a bunch of really nice things to repeat that have already been said. And I think if you have that mentality with life, and you have that mentality of love first, compliment first, give first, man, you'd be amazed at how many genuine impacts and positive outcomes you are now a part of. You can be the person that just says, have a great summer, and you'll still probably live a fine life. Or you can be the person that takes on a little bit of that darkness in the world and tries to be a little bit of a warrior for the light. Be the person that's willing to hug somebody who's sad because of what you said, even though it had to be said. Most likely, if you're in a sad scenario and you tell somebody that you're going to miss them, they'll probably become a little worse. But the only reason they're a little worse is because you're saying exactly what they was thinking. And you gave them essentially that acknowledgement. Like, hey, this sucks for all of us, right? But even though it sucks for all of us, it's still gonna miss you. I still care about you as a person. And if our lives don't ever cross again, I'm really happy that these were the last things I said to you. And I can't imagine a better memory to take away from a friendship. I can't imagine a more positive outcome. And as a man who has both, I've blown up friendships and I've had friendships blown up where I didn't try to repair them. But ultimately, when I look back on those, as much as I do remember maybe that negative part or that uncomfortable part, I can always go back to those positive memories and just know that even though this one bad thing happened, all the rest is still pretty good. The number one thing I struggle with, though, is going back. You know, I struggle with going backwards. Because even though I forgive them in my heart, it's almost like because I screwed up, like that was my opportunity, right? Like, oh, I'm sorry I screwed up our friendship. I will leave now so that you can move on without this dick bud in your life. Because even though I know you forgive me and I forgive it's just, I don't know what it is. It's an ego. It's essentially a shame, a guilt, a pride, all saying that because you messed up in your mind, you're going to go ahead and live. You're going to live their emotions for them and protect them from you, right, Mark? Man. And then you just essentially convince yourself that nobody wants to hear from you, nobody wants to answer the phone, and they're only doing it out of kindness, and it's gross. It's such a gross way to think. Welcome back, Lion. It's a gross way to think because all it does is impart negativity in the world. And even if you are genuinely trying to protect somebody, you need to look at what your result is, and that result is negative. And if the result is negative, it doesn't matter your intentions. You need to take those good intentions and adapt and evolve them to try to do better for people, man. It's not an easy thing. It's not just something you can do all the time, but it's something you need to be able to do when it matters the most. You know? That's so difficult to move on from. There's got to be a way to move through it without writing the story for them. Well, and the easiest way is to have that conversation. Be willing to be vulnerable, be willing to be humble enough to admit, like, hey, this is just weird, right? Now, one of the hardest parts for me is how much I talk. A lot of times it can lead to having a one-sided conversation, and I have high demands from the people that I talk to, and I don't know. Not easy to be with Marcus, but it is pretty exciting. And I am good at talking, though. What is it? It's just what makes a person a talker versus not. It's interesting. Welcome back, Lion. I hate school. I only have 2 exams and no qualification, but it don't matter. I got initiative. Hey, and exactly, you learn the skill sets, and there's not one right way for everyone. There's a general path for most, bless you. But ultimately, being able to identify your strengths and how you excel is important. Now, it doesn't mean that you never do anything hard. It doesn't mean that you never struggle. Sometimes you got to learn the skill, and it's going to suck. But even though it sucks, you just do it. And then after you obtain the skill, you move on, just like cooking. We talked about it with cooking. It only gets easier the better you get. But the better you get, the more you realize how hard or how much work it takes to improve. And you just that's why you fall in love with the process. You fall in love with the doing. You fall in love with being a doer. Don't be results driven. Because then you only care about the payday. You only care about the end result. And if it takes 20 years to get that end result, boy, howdy, did you miss out on a lot of enjoyment. You missed out on 20 years of life just to be happy about one thing. It's like people who stay in a job that they hate just because they think, well, I got to retire one day. Yeah, 10 years from now, you're just going to sacrifice 10 years because you might be happy. Life is so short. Lightning strikes happen all the time, man, and you don't be scared of them. You don't know that life's short and then use it to not live. You know that life's short so that you can use it to live, to get out of the house, to go do stuff, to go be pissed. That's where I always go back to, man. To go be frustrated and see your hometown being gutted and destroyed. But ultimately, that's not the part you try to focus on, right? You focus on the little victories. And you write them down so you can remember them. I did it when I was in primary school, which in the UK is 1st grade to 5th. Okay. You have so many strengths, Marcus, including being the best communicator I know, which is a huge responsibility. And with great responsibility comes great power. Because sometimes you don't have the power yet. You still have the ability, but you don't have the power to activate it. Okay, there's a pretty famous, what is up, Cultivator? Dude, Cultivator, he hosts a stream that I could just dream of. Just an unbelievable legend. There's a pretty infamous, I would actually say infamous story arc of Spider-Man where he loses his powers. He doesn't get cured. He doesn't give them away. Just for some reason, one day they vanish. Well, and if you know the story, essentially they vanish because he starts to doubt if being Spider-Man is who he should be. And then mind over matter, he's essentially convinced himself that his powers were gone. So he hung it up. And he actually went through a pretty powerful state of bliss. Okay, he stopped being Spider-Man, and that weight of responsibility was lifted. And then once that was lifted, his strength followed suit. And he essentially just became a normal guy again. How long do you think that lasted? How long do you think that a superhero who lived a life of extreme circumstance, how long do you think a person like that would be happy being normal? I bet you not very long. I bet you it would only take like a weekend, a couple weekends before their sense of purpose and duty started to creep back up. And here's the problem. When you go to sleep while you're awake, you don't inherently change who you are. You just subdue it down. So when Peter Parker lost his powers and picked a peck of roses, when Peter Piper, anyway, Marcus, focus. Stop talking my ear, Swedish chef. When Peter lost his powers, okay, he decided that he was going to use this as a glorious opportunity to live a normal life. Well, the first opportunity where he was met with the responsibility that he once held as the definition of his existence and being, he went to reach for a suit that was no longer there because he gave up on Spider-Man. The moment he was tested, he forgot that he no longer had powers. That means that it is in you as your core. It's who you are. It is the nugget. You are the hero. It's not a responsibility born from obligation. It is responsibility born from existence. Peter Parker was born Spider-Man. He simply didn't have the powers yet. Steve Rogers was born Captain America. He just didn't have the serum yet. That is why whenever these heroes are challenged, whenever these great people are pushed against the wall and everything is against them, they always find the resolve to try. And through that effort, through that attempt, they more times than not find success. It's not because of their super strength. What's up, Alex? It's not because of their above human powers. That's only what lets them defeat super evil. The thing that makes a hero is the willing to always do the thing that has to be done. It's that simple. The process is hard as fuck. Standing a moral high ground in the face of a majority against you is tough, but it makes you the person that you want to be. If you want to be a hero, that's what you do. If you want to be the Marcus, you have to embody it, whether you're supercharged or not. And going back to Peter Parker losing his powers, Peter perfectly performed when he was pushed. And guess what happened? Peter's powers probably wouldn't have came back had he not pushed himself when it mattered. Come on, P. I got nothing. When it mattered. Now, jokes aside, when Peter was pushed without his powers, he reached for a a super suit that wasn't there. Just because he didn't have the tools he needed to be the hero he wanted to be, that doesn't mean that it stopped him from performing. In lieu of his powers, Peter pushed through. He went into the burning building to save the people. Powers or not. And that is the perfect example of what a true superpower is. The power comes from here. It comes from the belief that knowing that what you're doing is going to make the world better. And the way you know you're doing it right is you're creating more, you're saving more people than creating victims. That's how you know you're on the right side of the world. You don't always hit your target, but you always aim for the target. You always find the way to help. You show up with an open hand and a willingness to do stuff. I'm not quite sure how I can help, but I'm here to help. And that's what we're here to do. And as the Marcus Show dies as it once was, like the great Phoenix, man, we're coming back. And we're coming back with an intention of truly making the world better. We will reach the top. We will take over. The power of our positive message will perform profoundly. And it takes people like you understanding that when it's a joke, it's funny. When it's somebody's personality, we punish them. Well, not them personally. But by punish, I mean that we make sure that we are not those people. Any more plosives that I could plow at you? Alex, how could I forget my angel from YouTube? We say it a lot. It's not about how often you're here. It's about how good it feels when you are here. Same to you, Cultivator. And anybody else chilling and relaxing. This stream was a commitment to you, the community, the viewer, the person, the people. This is my commitment to you, that if you're here, you are on the precipice of an amazing performance. This is the beginning of everything I have worked towards for my entire life. From every lesson that I learned from the military, from every person that I've helped, from every mistake I've made, every bruise, every blood drip, take a sip. Every mistake, every rage out, every blackout, every addiction, every pain. All of my life has led to the new and better Marcus. It's going to take a minute, y'all. But I promise you, if you hang out, you're going to be part of something amazing. And as Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers, he said to himself proudly, "Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you." I hope you guys are ready, because on Monday, it all starts. And there's something truly magical that is about to begin. Thank you, each and every one of you. And I mean that. I will see you guys next week. And I hope you're strapped in, because it is about to blast the fuck off. Thank you, Exner. Thank you, Cultivator. Thank you, Alex and Lion. And of course, to my beautiful wife who supports me always. Thanks, baby. I'll see you guys later. Much love.
Now's the time to say goodbye. It's short, so don't worry. M-A-R-K-U-S, the Chicken Army. Even with the world distressed, the truth is what you need. M-A-R-K-U-S, the Chicken Army. He's Marquez, but you're the best. Forever we will hold our standards high. But before we have to say goodbye, I want you
greatness within you.
K-U-S.
How do I know? Because I'm Marcus.
You're my family.
Thanks for watching, y'all. Mwah.